afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to Global Atheist News Roundup, dateline 8th of July 2023. This week's headlines: explosions and gunfire from Jenin. Thousands of Palestinians have left the refugee camp as Israel continues its major military operation in the occupied West Bank. The teaching of contraception and abortion access in Northern Ireland is cleared by MPs. Derry and Raphoe diocese appoints its first female dean. The Taliban order Afghanistan's hair and beauty salons to shut. The Ghana Parliament adopts the anti-LGBTQ bill. American atheists express their opinion of education. The Anglican Church plans to use schools to drive the conversion of children. 76 Church of England schools subject children to a live praise worship concert. And Rome's historic bakery for the Pope closes. The BBC's Yolanda Nell is in Jenin reporting on what we know about the escalated fighting between the Israeli forces and armed Palestinian militants. See this video.
For hours, loud explosions and intense gunfire. We're not allowed as journalists to get any closer. You can really get a sense from here of just how intense the fighting is. Jenin camp is a very crowded part of this city. It's home to some 18,000 people, historic Palestinian refugees and their descendants. Now, over the years, it's also become known as a stronghold for Palestinian militants. But with so many people living there, there's always a danger when the Israeli army goes in that civilians are going to get caught in the crossfire. There's been escalating violence in the West Bank for months, and Jenin has really been at the heart of that. Some Palestinians from this area have carried out deadly attacks against Israelis, and there have also been repeated deadly Israeli military raids in Jenin. Now the Israeli army says it's going after terrorist infrastructure, it's seizing weapons, but the risk here is always that there could be a wider Palestinian response, including from Gaza.
7 people are injured, 3 seriously, in a car ramming attack in Tel Aviv. Police say a 20-year-old Palestinian man drove into pedestrians standing outside a shopping centre. He was shot and killed after he got out and tried to stab those around him, a police spokesman says. The Israeli security minister says a brave citizen shot the suspected attacker. Palestinian militant group Hamas says the heroic attack in the city was a response to Israel's operation in the occupied West Bank. In Jenin, the Palestinian authorities say at least 11 people have died since Israel's military operation began, and thousands have left the refugee camp. See this video.
Longer term impact on families, on children, is that they grow up seeing all of this. And not only do they, that is, I think, the crowds are scattering down there. That fire is coming, I think, from Palestinians, firing out perhaps at the Israelis. This kind of thing has been going on all day. They're hunkering down. I think it probably will end in a moment, but maybe we should stop here.
Updates to sex education in Northern Ireland will go ahead after an attempt by the Democratic Union Party to halt the changes failed in the House of Commons. Northern Ireland Secretary Chris Heaton-Harris announced earlier this month that he planned to update requirements for relationship and sexuality education in the curriculum. The changes are aimed at ensuring pupils in Northern Ireland receive age-appropriate information about access to contraception and abortion services. The regulations will make age-appropriate, comprehensive and scientifically accurate education on sexual and reproductive health and rights, covering prevention of early pregnancy and access to abortion, a compulsory component of the curriculum. The DUP, which had criticised the proposals, forced a vote in the House of Commons, but MPs approved the change in regulations by 373 to 28. The Church of Ireland Diocese of Derry and Raphoe has appointed its first female dean. Ordained in 2017, the Reverend Liz Fitzgerald will leave her current role as curate of the County Donegal parishes of Gweedore, Carrickfinn and Templecrone. Her appointment as dean at St Eunan's Cathedral, Raphoe, was announced by Bishop Andrew Forster on Sunday. She said, "It's such an honour to be the worship lead in the cathedral." Ms Fitzgerald also becomes rector of the parishes of Raphoe, Raymachee and Clonley as part of her new position. "I was very flattered and very delighted to be asked to be rector of these three churches, and then I discovered it would carry the honour of being dean," she said. The Taliban have ordered hair and beauty salons in Afghanistan to shut in the latest restriction faced by women. A Vice and Virtue Ministry spokesperson told the BBC businesses had 1 month to comply, starting from the 2nd of July, when they were first informed of the move. Women's freedoms have steadily shrunk since the Taliban seized power in 2021. They have barred teenage girls and women from classrooms, gyms and parks, and most recently even banned them from working for the United Nations. The Taliban have also decreed that women should be dressed in a way that only reveals their eyes and must be accompanied by a male relative if they are travelling more than 48 miles. The restrictions have continued despite international condemnation and protests by women, as well as activists speaking up on their behalf. Shutting beauty salons was part of a wide range of measures imposed by the Taliban when they were last in power between 1996 and 2001, but they reopened in the years after the 2001 US-led invasion of Afghanistan. Reacting to the new closure, an Afghan woman speaking anonymously told the BBC, "The Taliban are taking away the most basic human rights from Afghan women. They are violating women's rights. By this decision, they are now depriving women from serving other women. When I heard the news, I was completely shocked. It seems the Taliban do not have any political plan other than focusing on women's bodies. They are trying to eliminate women at every level of public life." Ghana's parliament unanimously adopted the Promotion of Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill. The object of the bill is to provide for proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values that prescribe lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer and related activities. The bill now moves to the consideration stage, after which it will go through the third reading before it is passed into law. During the second laying of the bill, when Speaker Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbin put the question as to which of the 275 members of Parliament was against the adoption of the bill, the House unanimously voted for its adoption. Your personal religious beliefs should not be affecting my child's education. Our schools are not your church, says Adrian Martin. See this video.
I do not want random people with no education background or experience determining what books my child can read, what curriculum they learn, and what clubs they can join. Just because you can get up at every meeting and rant and rave does not give you authority over my child's education. Your personal religious beliefs, people in this room and on this board, should not be affecting my child's education either. Our schools are not to be used for personal political agendas, and our children are here for education, not religious indoctrination. I implore the board to put an end to trying to appease these extremists, focus on retaining staff, providing excellent public education, and a safe and welcoming learning space for all students. The speaker speaking about what great Christians they are, great. Go tell your pastor. Our schools are not your church. Thank you.
The Church of England has unveiled plans to use schools to drive recruitment of children and young people to Christianity. In a document published on Friday, the Church said, "Courageous structural shifts in thinking and practice in education will contribute to the Church's vision to double the number of children and young people who are active Christian disciples by 2030. The Church, which is embroiled in safeguarding scandals, has seen a dramatic decrease in membership, particularly among young people. The 2019 British Social Attitudes Survey found just 1% of 18 to 24-year-olds in Britain belong to the CofE. Overall, less than 1% of adults in England regularly attend CofE services. Thousands of children from 76 Church of England schools across Coventry and Warwickshire were bussed in to mass evangelizing worship concerts in an out-of-town arena last month in a series of American-style shows. The Alive Praise Party, which took place from 15th to the 16th of June during the normal school day, saw the schools in the Diocese of Coventry send 9,000 children aged between 7 and 11 to 4 events. Alive Praise is run by Imagine Ministries, a charity producing evangelical material, resources designed explicitly to convert children to Christianity. A video summary of the event shows thousands of children in a large arena, while musical acts and preachers entertained by happy-clappy singing and dancing performers from the stage. Disturbingly, even openly evangelical events intended to turn non-Christian children into Christian disciples are likely to be lawful, as they come under the banner of collective worship. The UK is the world's only country to require compulsory Christian worship as standard in all state schools. This practice originates in an archaic law from the 1940s, which says every state school in England and Wales must hold daily acts of broadly Christian collective worship, or in the case of faith schools, lead children in worship that matches the school's religion. We turned the oven off on Tuesday, said Angelo Arrigoni, 79, whose father opened the little shop in 1930 during Pius XI's papacy, and who would hand-deliver bread to the papal household. Each time a new head of the Catholic Church was elected, the Panificio Arrigoni on Borgo Pio just a 5-minute walk from St. Peter's Square, would get ready to cater to the new Pope's tastes. Polish Pope John Paul II, elected in 1978, said he wanted the bread his workers ate, Arrigoni said. The workers ate both the ciriola, that big, classic Roman loaf that hardly anyone makes anymore, and Rosetta rolls. So, for his whole papacy, which lasted almost 27 years, we gave him 5 ciriola and 5 Rosetta rolls a day. When his successor, Benedict XVI, was elected, Arrigoni rang the papal household, but was told by a nun that the new German pope would be sticking with the baker he frequented as a cardinal. But I am that baker, he told her, for Benedict had already been getting cheese and unleavened bread from him as Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger. Pope Francis has also been served by Arrigoni, but will now need to look elsewhere for his daily bread after the baker found himself squeezed by a drop in loyal local customers and steep energy prices. The district has changed, he said. All the houses that used to be full of people have become rentals for tourists, most of whom do not do a daily shop for basics, but prefer to eat out in the Eternal City's restaurants. Stay on this channel to watch Tercia and I interview Dan Barker. It's a bit later than usual, in an hour and a half to fit in with our guest. We are very pleased to have Dan on the show. And don't forget to watch Views on the News, the show where our opinionated panel give their views on the items I have just reported. This has been Global Atheist News. Please like, subscribe and share. Thank you for watching.